Kevin, thank you very much for joining Energy Live News and joining our discussion. I just want to start this chat by asking you about this message that we all saw circulating on the internet and on social media. The message that this became viral, and it was mentioning about, especially about petrol pumps. And how these petrol pumps can be spreaders of COVID-19 and coronavirus. So I just want to ask you about your reaction. When did you first find out about this message, and which was your first reaction as Irish Petroleum Industry Association?
Yeah, so we became aware that there was a message being shared on social media, particularly through WhatsApp, last Thursday evening, that claimed that advice had been given from a senior person in a hospital in the west of Ireland that the virus was being spread particularly rapidly through petrol pump handles. So we, first of all, made sure that we were correct in our view that there was no additional risk from petrol pump handles, and it was confirmed for us that was the case. So we put a statement out making it clear that while, yes, of course, people need to be vigilant and to follow all of the official advice in terms of hand washing and sanitizing, and that we felt that it was helpful to people to wash and or sanitize before and after using a petrol pump, because lots of people will touch them, that there is no increased risk. We also needed to make sure people knew that our members were enhancing the hygiene protocols to ensure that any contacts, any areas with which consumers regularly have contacts, that's not only the petrol and diesel pumps, but also handles into service stations, card payment terminals, any of the countertops, that we enhance the hygiene protocols for those surfaces, that we enhance the hygiene protocols for our own people, and make sure that while we can keep the country moving, where we can keep cars, vans, trucks, emergency services vehicles in particular on the road, we're also going to protect our own people and the consumers that we serve.
As an Irish Petroleum Industry Association, have you taken any specific measures and steps in order to ensure that all these customers that will go to the petrol stations will be safe in order to use these petrol pumps?
Well, it's not something that the association can actually do, but I know my member companies have taken quite remarkable action. So in addition to all of those enhanced hygiene procedures that I mentioned earlier, we have installed perspex and plexiglass screens between the people behind the counter and the consumers when they come in. We're encouraging people wherever possible to use contactless payment, so we're not touching hands, exchanging cash. We have placed notices in the service stations to encourage physical distancing while queuing, for example. We're limiting the number of people going in and out of forecourts at any given time. We're increasing the access to pay at pump facilities so that a person can come, fill up their vehicle, and then move on without ever having to go into the shop. They can just pay at the pump on a contactless terminal. Also, in Ireland in particular, we have a very large dependence on oil for home heating. So about 65% of homes in rural Ireland, and we are a rural country, depend on home heating oil. So another important measure that we have taken has been in how we manage deliveries. So obviously it's terribly important right now that homes are warm, that people who are sick or self-isolating can be warm and comfortable in their homes. So we need to make sure that that product is still being delivered. But we have stopped asking people to sign for deliveries. So we're recording that digitally so that we know that people have accepted delivery. We're asking people not to engage with the delivery drivers if not absolutely necessary. So that means the delivery driver will come onto a property, go to the tank, fill up. The customer will digitally acknowledge receipt of the product and then move on without ever having to have physical contact. So while the association hasn't taken these measures, member companies have taken really quite remarkable steps to limit any potential risk of spreading this infection.
So as I can understand from what you are saying, is that petrol pumps does not pose any particular risk for people's health, right?
Precisely. It would be false to say they pose no risk, because just like a door handle or the trolley in a supermarket one might use, people are touching them. We're minimizing that risk insofar as we possibly can. We're also encouraging people to take personal responsibility and make sure that they are not spreading the disease and therefore reducing the risk that way. So I believe, on behalf of my members, that we're doing everything that we can do to play our part in fighting this crucial battle.